second part that I want to talk about is when you want to work in the US as a student, as an international student, you have special rules and restrictions that you must follow. Number one, you have to know that as an international student, you are not allowed to work outside your school unless you have special permission, which has to start by your school, but you can work at school. You can work on campus. Now, most schools in the United States have jobs available on campus for students, local students, US students, and international students. You cannot work even on campus before you get authorization from the US government. What do I mean? Before you start working, you have to get your social security number. For you to get your social security number, you have to get an employment letter from your school and then go to the social security office in the city where your school is located. So for example, my school is here in Springfield, Missouri. When I was going to start work, I had to get an employment letter from my school and take that letter to the social security office in Springfield. And then once you get to the social security office, there is paperwork that you have to fill out, and then you have to wait for your social security card to come. Once your social security card comes, then you are allowed to go and start work. You cannot start working in the US without social security card and your number, because that's how the US government monitors who is working in the US and who is not. You cannot be paid officially without your social security number.
What about the working hours? How many hours you can work?
That's a very good question. Now, as an international student, you are only allowed to work 20 hours per week when you are taking classes. And usually that is during the fall and the spring semesters. In the summer semester, international students are allowed to work more hours, up to 40 hours per week. Why are you allowed to work 40 hours per week? Because in the summer, most people will not take classes. So for example, I don't take classes during the summer. I take time off to rest because the US academic year begins in the fall and ends in the spring. You study in the fall and spring. If you study in the summer, you are not going to have a break. So if you really want to take a break from school, unless you really want to finish your program very quickly, but otherwise, excuse me, it's cutting my head. So if you want to take your summer off, you are allowed to work more hours when you are not studying. And so you have to be aware of that. I repeat once again, you can only work up to 20 hours per week during the fall and during the spring semesters. During the summer, you are allowed to work up to 40 hours per week because you're not taking classes. The reason is because the summer is a break time in the US. Most people are not taking classes, and so you have more time to work more hours and make more money. If you are studying in the summer, I don't think they can allow you to to work 40 hours per week.
How about how much they can make per hour?
Now, that is a question that has to do with the minimum wages in different states. In Missouri, for example, the minimum wage per hour is $11.15 here in Springfield. And so most students are going to be paid minimum wage. In other words, you cannot easily find jobs, especially on campus, which is where you are mostly going to work. You cannot find a job that pays you more than the minimum wage of that state. So the US is different from many other countries because this is United States and every state has different laws and rules. And so the minimum wage in Springfield, in Missouri, which is the state where Springfield is found, is not going to be the same as California or, for example, Massachusetts or North Carolina. Every state has different minimum wages. And so in Missouri, for example, the minimum wage is $11.15, I believe. And so that's how you're going to how much you're going to make per hour. So you can multiply by how many hours you are going to work and know how much you are going to make.
If they work like 20 hours a week, will they be able to cover your living expenses or like at least some tuition fee?
Yeah. So your on-campus employment cannot honestly pay for your tuition. That is impossible because education in the U.S. is very expensive. And it is based on credit hours of your program. So for example, I'm doing a graduate program and every course that I take is 3 credit hours. Each credit hour is $560, for example. Now, if you multiply by 3 credit hours per course, that means every course is going to cost me about $1,500. That is just one course. And now remember that each semester you're going to take as an international student, this is very important to remember, as an international student, you are required to take full-time study. What does that mean? You have to take a minimum of 9 credit hours if you're doing a master's program. I don't know about the undergraduate program, so I cannot answer a question about that. You can find that from your school. But take this as a rule that you have to meet. Every international student is supposed to take full-time study whenever they are studying. And that's why it is important to take a break during the summer, because you do not have the privilege of American citizens to take classes as you want. For example, every semester I have to take a minimum of 9 credit hours. So for American students, they can choose to take 1 class per semester, which is just 3 credit hours. But as an international student, I don't have that privilege. Every time I enroll in a semester, I have to take full-time credit hours, which is 9 credit hours. For some programs, for some degree programs, it may even be 12 credit hours. And so that's why because when you're studying, you're going to work hard, and the only time you get to take a break is during the summer.
So what do you mean by work hard? Study hard or?
Study hard is to make sure that you're studying and you are passing your exams, because if you fail, you are going to prolong your program. And the more you prolong your program, the more money you're spending in the U.S. And especially if you have a scholarship, most scholarships are going to demand that you have a certain minimum grades. And so if you underperform in your courses, in your grades, you are likely going to lose your scholarship. So it's very important that even as you take on-campus jobs, make sure that job allows you enough time to study, because study is very important when you are in the U.S. If you do not study as required, you're not going to perform well on your papers, and that's very dangerous.